I think, Sanjay, we can start, or we're waiting for somebody? Is Professor Raina here?
Faculties are going to join. 37 participants are there. I was waiting for Raina sir.
Yeah, Professor Raina, let's wait.
Raina sir has requested us to start the session. He would be joining.
Okay.
Very good afternoon, each and everyone. I welcome you in this academic forum session on igniting the joy of engineering. And to start with, I would again request Dr. Sanjay Goyal to set up the session, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sonal. Good afternoon to all. Once again, welcoming you all to this third session of this series. In the earlier two sessions, our focus was on teaching construction using different kind of techniques that involves design, that involves using material, and that involves using some electronics that we saw, using some components of electronics, sensors, etc. So the focus of those two sessions was teaching constructions through the course on design and prototyping, and one kind of construction, which is where the focus was on physical construction, and the second course was on electronic construction, and we saw that in this fundamentals of automation engineering, and those two can be combined to create advanced sophisticated systems. Today's focus is on a very, very important skill that has been the forte of the engineering profession, which is quantitative analysis. You know, engineers have traditionally been considered to be very good at quantitative analysis, and whether they continue in an engineering or not, but this skill of doing quantitative analysis pretty well has been recognized as their core strength, and is expected to be a fundamental trait of engineers, all engineers in all disciplines. Okay, so much so that they could very easily leave the profession of engineering and diversify into various other areas of management and governance and leadership, etc. And also social sciences, because they brought this data analysis, number crunching, quantitative analysis skills with them. So this is a very, very fundamental and very important skill for all engineers. So in our curriculum also, we give a huge importance to this area. And after the arrival of the computers, this data, this quantitative analysis is done computationally. So we have looked at this entire stream of building quantitative analysis strength at the core of our curriculum that starts in the first semester, and this involves a lot of programming, this involves a lot of required mathematics, and integrating the two for doing the quantitative data analysis using computational techniques. That's the focus of this course, and we are very happy to run this course. The results have been very satisfactory, and so now this team of Sonal, Umesh, and Richa will run this session, and we will obviously miss the presence of our dear colleague Kavita Chaudhary, who was also a part of this team right from the beginning. In all the 3 years that this course has run, she was a part of it right from the beginning, as strong a partner as other 3 have been. And I request Sonal, Umesh, and Richa to take over from here now.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you for igniting us to present this session and present the contents in academic forum session. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts and inputs of Professor Siddharthan, Ashish sir at the beginning of the session, Dheeraj Sanghi sir when actually this was kick-started, and Sanjay Goyal throughout the proceedings of this course in the previous 2 years. Would like to also acknowledge the efforts of Dr. Kavita Chaudhary, who was with us since beginning and was very much instrumental in building up this course. So myself, Dr. Umesh Gupta, Racha, and we also have teaching assistant Manish Sharma with us, who is a full-time PhD student with us and has been actually a very demanding resource in the Department of Computer Science Engineering. So this course earlier is an integration of 3 different courses. In an earlier course, earlier stage, and not only at our university but other university, there are 3 courses, standard courses, namely Mathematics 1, Mathematics 2, and Mathematics 3. We actually also had followed same initially when we started Engineering Mathematics 1, Engineering Mathematics 2, and Engineering Mathematics 3. But later on, actually, these courses were renamed as Calculus and Linear Algebra. And statistics was actually part of computational numerical methods. So it was actually computer-oriented numerical and statistical method. That was the course. But in 2018, February 2018, so Professor Siddharthan actually laid down the foundation and say that why not actually mix 3 courses? Programming is being taught separately, statistics is being taught separately, and calculus and linear algebra is taught separately. That too in multiple semesters. Why not actually give students hands-on, flavor in very first semester itself and make this a large course that is a 10 credit course. With this agenda, we moved forward, and this was the kickstart of a course in February 2018. This was actually initiated, where, as can be seen, Kavita was also there with us. And initially, definitely, there were actually thoughts of all kinds in our mind. Executing 10 credit course, will it be feasible? Whether actually would we evaluate students of with this many credits with a fair practices, but with the support of all, and after joining of Sanjay sir, we had a lot of support in actually future proceedings. And right now, we like this course has been executing satisfactorily. This course is actually following this quadrant, wherein actually focuses has been on conceptualization, application, activity, and reflection. Unlike the earlier courses which has been taught with the conceptualization and the delivery, this actually has focus during the delivery on all the 4 aspects. The student actually remains quite satisfied that he is not only actually bombarded with the concepts, but also along with the concepts, application has been showcased along with the activities that students remain engaged, and reflection we have been trying to focus on. This is the course file. 3 iterations of this course are over. So, and in this 3rd iteration, actually quite major changes were being done. I would like to, even in iteration 2, few changes were there. That is, evaluation scheme was changed. Earlier when we started, there was very little emphasis on theory exams, but then we increased certain portion of theory exams as well. Bottom-up approach of building projects were incorporated. Earlier it was actually introducing the project and we followed top-down approach, but looking to the audience and looking to our experience, we actually then converted it to a bottom-up approach. In first iteration, we had projects which were revolving around open-ended themes, wherein students were allowed to select any theme where actually they were supposed to do statistical analysis. But later on, we actually confined it to sustainable development goals. So in parallel, our conference was also announced, which was on this theme, and so actually in line with that, actually we thought of announcing this theme, and it worked successfully. We followed it in both the iterations, and probably would be actually utilizing the same thing in the upcoming iteration as well. In the second iteration, posters of each project were also prepared and demonstrated during the visit of Dr. Manmohan Singh, and he also took interest on one of the projects, and later on student actually explained that project poster in very much detail. In a 3rd iteration, again few changes were done. The depth of Python content was increased. Earlier actually,
can we next slide?
I think if you're in the presentation mode, then this next slide will not come. Or share only this screen and not the whole something.
Whole screen. Actually, if I don't
Full screen.
share whole screen, then PDF showcasing PDF will be difficult. Let me actually continue for a few more minutes and then I'll change this.
Okay.
So depth of Python has been increased in a third iteration. Earlier, we were not focusing on taking lab evaluations, but in the third iteration, we have actually laid down quite emphasis on Python programs, pure Python programs as well, and made them practice. Good amount of practice was given on Python programs. We also, because Coursera was last time actually open to all of our students, we took benefits of open platforms like Coursera, even a cognitive AI, .ai platform. And first time in the last iteration, that is the third iteration, we involved two teaching assistants. One is Manish Sharma and one is Harshita Kangwara, both in individual section. This time also being a facility, as Turnitin facility was actually available with us, we actually were very much strict that final submission of report would be acceptable only when actually plagiarism is less than 10%. Remaining things were same. Just give me a second, sir. We are shifting to measures. We have designed a course planner which we have followed in all three iterations, which have been mapped with the learning outcomes of the course. And because 6 people are involved in teaching this course, this becomes very much helpful to us, and students also remain in sync with us, and all 6 of us remain in sync with us with this course planner. So there are 15 weeks which have been planned. We utilized Mentimeter last year to introduce this course to students, because it becomes initially difficult to make them convince also that this is a 10 credit course and you will be learning this much content in this course. Next. Level of engagement has become very important when we talk about these kind of deliveries. Initially, we started with differentiating our hours of delivery between in-class and out-class. Later on, based on experience, we also realized that actually how that in-class has been actually bifurcated further between lectures, activities, and projects, and how out-class actually how many total hours students actually students gave while pursuing this particular course. So in class actually is 150 hours, 10 hours per week. It is at least 10 hours per week. It goes beyond, but at least 150 hours in class is there. If I bifurcate it in detail, lectures is 60 hours, activities 30 hours, and projects is actually include 60 hours in those contact hours. When it comes to outclass, approximately, as I said, 300 hours. Approximately 200 Python practice problems are actually being done by the students, unlike when we used to teach it as a separate course. Because when we used to teach a course on programming, practice problems were based or confined to pure programming problems or traditional programming problems. But now actually they have a good amount of questions based on linear algebra and statistics also. So it has actually almost doubled. One group project, one individual project, which takes a month, 2 individual assignments, which are and 8 to 10 fortnightly practice sheets are being given to the students as part of this course. I would like to mention that earlier when I talk about programming, approximately 3,000 lines of code was actually written by the students, but we observed that especially in this last iteration, third iteration, which was on even delivered using online mode, but approximately 6,000 lines of code are written by the student. At least, again, I would say it differs depending on the students as well, but at least 6,000 lines of code has been written by an individual student. Evaluation plan, unlike other courses, becomes quite important in this course, being a 10 credit course, because it can change the CGPA of student quite, say, either ways. We have assignments. We give them three assignments, which actually amounts to 15 marks, but we take Viva on the basis of for each assignment. That becomes quite laborious, but our students are quite satisfied when we evaluate them these ways, because even when we interact one-to-one, it is not only asking questions and they giving the answers, but we also try to understand where they are facing issues in these subjects. So that becomes counseling, Viva kind of thing. And our students have showcased quite positive inputs when we, I would say, associate Viva with submission of assignments. Even actually when student has copied it from somewhere, they are not able to answer, or sometimes actually other student from whom actually others have copied, they can actually share with us at that time openly, and we are able to stop that in between. Quizzes, 3 quizzes, again, one for Python, one for linear algebra, and one for statistics. We have separated specifically these contents just to actually remain, I would say that importance of linear algebra and statistics and individual Python also stands still. Lab evaluation has been shifted on HackerRank in previous iteration, wherein actually automated evaluation has been utilized. So it is not me and Kavita who actually evaluated their programs, but automated evaluation was done by HackerRank platform, which is one of the standard platforms utilized for competitive programming. Manish Sharma, our teaching assistant and who is full-time PhD student whom I introduced recently, actually helped us a lot on taking these things on HackerRank. Theory exams, 20 marks, which includes LA and statistics, both concepts. And final project is actually of worth 30 marks. I would also like to tell one more thing. Maybe actually it may look like a silly kind of a thing, but initially only when we start this course, we actually very thoughtfully decide the dates of examinations, because a lot of evaluation components are there and we do communicate it to the students. And only last year actually these dates were shifted, but the gap between 2 exams and rest remaining things, we were able to stick on the schedule which we delivered earlier, which has been praised by students, because they know earlier in like at the starting of the semester itself, this is how actually our entire course will be delivered. Next. Yes, there is one, when we start this program, another challenge which we face is with students with different varied levels of programming language knowledge, because many students actually have done Java or full programming course during their 11th and 12th standard, and some are actually very much new to computers as well. So we need to balance between those. Otherwise, actually, the students who have never done anything quite feel dissatisfied, and others actually who are at a good depth level feel that our level of course is very down. So initially, to understand each and every one, and this is a large class student actually, last time also we handled 104 students. So it becomes very important to understand each and every student, and we actually give first exercise wherein actually students work on preparing a posters on journey of Python programming language. So at that time when they present, we ask variety of questions and they do it in a team. And at that time we gauge their level, yes, where that level student stands, and then actually we form different groups and take the course forward. Later on, actually our focus is on algorithms and flowchart. This kind of actually charts are being prepared by students. दिख रहा है? Algorithms and flowcharts, enough practice is being given in the class. Algorithms and flowcharts, setting up installation in their machines, because they are working on their own laptops, unlike lab environment. Again, it becomes sometimes challenging because very first time they start utilizing their laptops are new. They actually purchase it because in first semester they are very much crazy also while in using their laptops, and then this actually takes a week at times for us to make them settle on their own laptops. Unlike it may happen that our labs are ready with the infrastructure and they come and they do and they leave, but this is making them work on their own machines with all these setups ready. But actually Manish and our lab LT has been helping us a lot, and our team is actually, because we are 6 people, we are able to do it. And we start with understanding of hardware components and getting them familiar with programming environment. Now, as far as programming is concerned, so next slide. Throughout the semester, this kind of questions are being hosted on HackerRank, and other activities like competitions and etc. Keep on going in the class. But post 3 weeks, post 3 weeks, portion of status linear algebra actually gets started. Last time, actually, we also did one more thing. We created a Slack channel. This I would like to share amongst the community, wherein actually this was a discussion group, and students actually utilized it a lot. Last time we faced issues of admissions throughout semester till December 30th, but this Slack channel has helped us a lot in making them interact with each other, solving the problems of each other. Students became ninjas of each other, which actually was a great support to us. So this is what I thought like I should share, that this can be utilized in other courses as well. Now I would like to invite Dr. Richa Sharma for.
These topics are very important when we are talking about data analytics. You wanted to deal with the various.
I think we are not able to hear you. I think you become muted.
Yes, sir.
So these pedagogical tools we have applied for a lecture, assignment, individual project, quizzes, theory exam, and others. So as Dr. Sonal has told, that we have planned the various activities to connect the student with the course. So the very first activity related with linear algebra. The very first activity we have done for a student, application of matrices. So the main agenda to start with this activity is that students are having the feel and flavor related with the application, related with the matrices. So here I would like to show you that the student has searched and prepared the various posters related with this.
So
थोड़ा रियलाइजेशन का इश्यूज है।
हाँ सर। So in this activity, student has prepared search the area. So students are having the idea that where the applications are arising. So student have prepared the very beautiful poster. They have mentioned the application related with the cryptography, related with the image processing, related with the coding and decoding. The lots of application posters are there, but right now the file will be unable to open. So I'm mentioning all the activities. So here students search all the application, then the next activity which we have planned related with this, once they identify the area, then we ask the student to model the data as a matrices, and then using the Python program, they already know how to come up the data types file, control structure, decision statement. Then once they formulate, then the simple programming related with the linear algebra students are doing in the second activity. Hope the file is visible. Okay, thank you. So we have started with the construction of the matrices, and both the activity we have merged here. So students are using the Python concept, and they know how to do the matrix addition, matrix subtraction, matrix, the basic starting concept of the linear algebra. So here you can see we have asked the student, we have divided the student into the various group and asked to write down the number of apps in their mobile, stationery. This is the random activity we have planned in the classroom. And so they have mentioned the number. Then we have asked them, please find out what is the maximum and the minimum and the total quantity of the each group on the desk. So this we have asked, do this activity with analytically and verify the same with the Python. So the next add-on onto this activity, we have asked to come up the another matrix by having the movies name, accessories, and utility terms. So students enjoyed a lot. Yeah, they know how to apply the basic concept of linear algebra into our daily life. Now, adding on this, after finding the minimum, maximum value, addition, then we have extended this activity and asked the student, now you have to represent the travel cost between your resident to the university and any two connecting point they can consider. So here this type of the graph we have shown to the student, and some of the assumption at the very beginning we describe in the classroom, and some constraint we have considered that there is no returning cost. We will consider here. Later on we ask the student, you can increase your constraint to modify this activity. So the students are finding the distance and what will be the cost. So the total cost is 21. So likewise, this activity has been planned. So after this activity, the next activity which we have planned, so because now the student know the matrix multiplication, addition, they already know. And but here the main agenda, the second activity, they know how to done all these type of concept using the Python and the representation of the graph. So the next activity we will add on here, encoding and decoding of the messaging. So here we have given the some complex, means again the group has been already divided into the previous activity. So we have asked to student, please write a one message of your choice. Then the another group is decode that message. So again the student know how to we can apply the matrix inverse concept for decoding the message. So they all are surprised, using the matrix inverse we can decode any of the message. So I will show you how this we have done. So After this activity, student know the string operation, values, ordinal value, and the basic matrix operation. So here we have given the string. This is as the example. We have given the text on gen. Here I would like to tell you that we have asked the student to do this activity analytically as well as verify the same using Python. So we want our student to be strong in the mathematics. So each and every student decode the message analytically, and then after they have verified with the help of the Python. So these are the commands. They know how the transpose of a matrix is helpful. Key matrix is a helpful determinant of a key matrix, inverse of the matrix. So finally, following all the linear algebra concept, they return to the message this. So with the coding and decoding, this activity is really helpful to understand the student, the concept related with the inverse, determinant, and addition and multiplication. And then when we have introduced all the activities to the student and they are aware with all the concept, then we have asked the student, this is the sudden activity planned by us. We go to the classroom and ask the student, today we are not doing anything. You just think what we have done till the class and start doing your imagination on the board. So look how they have done this activity. So this is the activity. We just go to the classroom and ask the students, just starting the thinking what the concept we have covered in the classroom, and you people have to discuss among your guru and your imagination and connect all the topics to each and other. So look here, the students are starting with the linear algebra, Python, inverse, vector, some of the topics they also search which we want to cover in the upcoming classes. So look at here, they have found out the application, balancing of the chemical equation. Really, the students are very much happy to know that using the matrix, we can balance the equation because the student only do the same thing in the chemistry. And so they are very happy to circuit design and they are coding, decoding, these type of the application they have searched. And likewise, the same activity we has also planned online. This medium, the groups are divided, students are divided into the various rooms, and the different room they are constructed, they have provided this, and one is the team leader has been assigned for this. So all students have been given the idea and they have formed up this concept map. So basically for planning this activity is that students know how we can map each and every concept to the different areas. So after this activity, now students know what the topic we are going to cover in the upcoming classes also. So at very last, this is the activity by which this is the main activity related to the linear algebra concept, because now we introduce the student, they are working on the SDG tournament. They have to do the 2 projects related with this. So to introducing this activity, our main motto is that simply the students are familiar with what is SDG all about, how many goals are exist. So here we have planned a quiz in the classroom. We already divided the student to the various groups and asked them to study about the SDG goals. And you can see here we have divided the groups among the 14 teams. And there is a very interesting games we have planned in the classroom. These are the different teams, groups, and students, one team has asked the 14 different questions to each of the groups. So 13 questions, because itself we have done the formulation. If you are winning, we provide you 1. If you are losing, we provide you 0. So likewise, this matrix has been filled up. So this is the real data set the students are having. And the next step is that now we have asked, because in the classroom, we have introduced the concept of ranking. So once they have taken the data set with us in the classroom, then we have asked them to apply the eigenvalue, eigenvector, Python, ranking. So they have a call this data set which we are taken in the classroom. Then with the help of this data set and the matrix algebra concept, they have provided the ranking. Who is the first among that quiz on the basis of eigenvalues and eigenvector. So at last, on the basis of it, they have provided the rank. So they know that where they can apply the ranking concept. So these activities are done. So these activities are done, and we have already introduced each and every concept to the student with the help of the applications, activities, and practices. Practice sheets are provided time to time. Linear resources are provided time to time, related material, so that a student after the class out hours they can expand to this component. Quizzes are, lots of quizzes are there, some graded and ungraded. I am not taking the time. Dr. Gupta will be tell you about in detail how we have planned the same in the online mode. Various assignment has been planned, and at last the individual project we have given team ranking, because now students know how to give in the ranking with the help of the activity which we have done in the classroom. They know the eigenvalue concept, eigenvector concept. So they are, the task has been given to them. The task has been given to them how to do these things. So you can see here. So before showing the major assignment, I would like to show you some of the practice sheets. These are the practice sheets we have given them. So some of the problems, basic problem we have given, then we have also find out, verify your result using Python. Some of the sheets has been given to them. Likewise, for ranking, we have provided the study material to them. So this small paper we have given them. They can do the decision making on the basis of like they have made the formulation of the matrices, the entry. So these study materials will also helpful to the student. Student to enrich their knowledge. These are the other study material. So I am just coming to, I also want to show the basic assignment. This is the assignment, the ranking assignment, because they know. So these are the some of the links we have provided to the student, link 1, link 2. This is the individual assignment. The student has to start the each and the every link. In some of the places we are also giving this type of the sheet. So they have to, we have already done the one ranking activity in the classroom. Then now we ask them to explore this data, formulate the matrix, then using the Python. Now you have to tell me what will be the rank of the particular area.
Hey, Richa, can I just?
Yes,
Richa,
sir. Yes, sir.
am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Just can you kindly quickly, if it is not taking that much of time, show us any sample of any question paper or quiz paper or assignment which you use
Okay,
to
sir.
test
Okay,
what
sir.
they have learned. Anything that you have used.
Okay, sir. This is the major assignment which we are giving to the student. This is the major assignment because we have already introduced the SDG goals to them. So students are asked to identify one of the problem among these topics. Then after they identify the problem, they are asked to collect the real data, and then they have to form up the formulation, and then after they have to define the rank. Analytically we want, and then after we ask them to use the Python for the mathematical calculation because the matrices is too large. So then after we ask them to do this. So this is the main. So now I hand over next to the Dr. Manish Gupta. This is related with the linear algebra.
Thanks, ma'am. Namaskar, sir. We'll show some quizzes and assignments in later part also to you. This assignment basically it's not a traditional assignment in which we give set of problems. Set of problems are given in practice sheets where people can solve so many questions. this assignment is basically the integration of the mathematical topics in Python. Like in this particular case, it was a integration of linear algebra in Python. Now, the evaluation of project one, like this individual project one, is a kind of major assignment where the Viva is given and each and every sprint is given is shared the observations, like meaningful variable name. These are the observations that came up in the Viva, and we share it with the students. It is not only marks that we share observations also to them, their strengths, weaknesses, and issues, because they are first semester students and it was only 1.5 months or so which is passed. So these observations were necessary for them. Now, then we come to the second module of the course, that is called computational statistics. In this computational statistics, the concepts that are broad concepts, of course, the detailed syllabus is there in the course file. The broad concepts are like data collection, basic of probability, probability distribution, parametric of hypothesis, and all these concepts that are only really required as covered. And to cover those concepts, the pedagogical tools that we use, it's lectures, direct lectures where the concepts are covered. That's few activities which supplement the lecture part. Then the learning resources where students learn their own lecture sheets so that they can do mathematical problem solving. And then quizzes, it's a part of evaluation. And the individual project 2 followed by a group project. This group project is a kind of third module, which is actually the outcome of this course. Now, like linear algebra, there are few activities that we did in this computational statistics also. So now the stage is what? Their first round of evaluation is completed. They have completed some quizzes. So they are having some marks in hand now. So we share those marks, as Dr. Sonal rightly communicated. We communicate the dates of the evaluation very much in advance. And as soon their assessment is done, we try that well in time their marks are announced. So once they have these marks, we ask them to analyze their own marks. We don't disclose the name of the students. We show it like respondent numbers and all. And then what they do, they have the data set of about 100 students' marks. In those marks, they build many graphs, but here in this activity, we ask them to draw histograms and then draw normal curve, understand what normality means, and then based on which using normal distribution data, our earlier evaluation system was saying that how the grades are being defined. To be shared with them that how grades are being calculated. They calculate their own grades using normal distribution. That becomes an application. Let me show these activities to you. So this activity, histogram and normal curves, you can see it's a classroom activity where people are practicing, like they are doing everything in the class. So they are doing histograms, they are making class range, they are doing it, they are finding where mean is lying, where median is lying. What do we mean by all these things? So they are visualizing, and then they, of course, enjoy the entire activity as well. And then we ask one group student to go to another table and see what mistake they have done. This is the regular process that we do in the classes. And there are few photographs of these activities. And then the second activity, that is called calculating your grades. This particular activity is like encoding and decoding linear algebra. This calculating your grades is the kind of key activity in statistics. Now, before I come to the detail of this activity, I would like to draw your attention to the flow of this activity. So we go like this in the class with this activity. Each and every time limit is decided. When the student will do what. And under this, the entire class is synchronized and go with the complete outcome. And in this case, you can see, it is not simply activity. We are showing them the handout and they are asked that through this handout, understand and identify your grades. So through this activity, they understand the application of normal distribution as well as they can do problem solving. And the third activity, which is know your traits, this activity is basically related to the final project, but we do it very much in advance because we need to do many iterations while forming the groups. So this know your trait activity is activity of Wadhwani Foundation that determines the entrepreneurial characteristics. So that becomes a team building. In a particular team, we decide or we design in such a way that diversity comes in the team rather than their own acquaintances come. So this group is based on a well designed questionnaire by Wadhwani practice sheet sample is already shared by Dr. Richa Sharma. So we provide practice sheets, learning resources, we provide YouTube resources and other things. As far as quizzes is concerned, since this is divided in 2 sections, whether it is on campus or online, and we try that every student do it together. So what we do in on campus also, we organize the quizzes on Canvas. So we were very much familiar with the online platform as far as quiz is concerned. So in this on-campus quiz, what we do, so let me share the multiple choice questions of the on quiz. It's a straight away mathematical question, sir. So let me share. So this is the kind of question, this is a format which we upload on the Canvas. So it's the state questions of statistics where the question is given, but you can see questions is also having some kind of some kind of applications and word problems where options are given and correctness are assessed. So these are the questions. This kind of quizzes we have taken in a set, and then we organize this quiz. If I come to online platform, now what was happening with Canvas, since all students were on campus, so we were basically asking them to sit in a room, and then we were invigilating them. So there was no worry as such of the malpractices. But now there's another platform that come up to us called online platform. That online platform is what I'd like to show 1 minute that particular platform that mathematics, all mathematics people are using. Including in CAM, CEA, everywhere now we are using. So we have been, we have got training in this actually. So sorry, because this was expired because of long time. So quizzes which was created. So let me show one quiz to you what we have taken about ES 1101 theory examination. Like quiz 1. So if we see this, quiz, this entire set of students are coming here. And now these students are getting different questions randomly selected. And if I go to quiz review, I can go to quiz review for each and every student, and you can see the questions and answers and their collectiveness, and we can edit, moderate them as well. So it's just a sample that we are showing as VC sir wanted us to show. This is the kind of question that we given in statistics. This is a part of quiz and statistics. And then student take it. If it is correct, it comes. If we see, and then now this year onwards, we have started taking their document evidence also. So whatever they have done scribbled on the answer sheet, we ask them to submit, and we see whether some kind of cheating is not done. So that monitoring we are doing, but more than that, the quality is being maintained as far as online quizzes is concerned. Now the major part of statistics actually is not quizzes or practice sheets or assignments. It's basically the project phase starts from here. So for designing that particular project, what we have done is we divided that entire project in 3 parts: cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3. Individual project 1, that is kind of assignment, is already shared by Dr. Richa in linear algebra. Now we are talking about individual project 2. This is also an individual assignment, but this gives a flavor to the students that how the complete project is going to start. So let me show this particular assignment to you. Just give me a minute, I'll share the file with you. Statistics, assignment, statistics. So if we see this individual project 2, we can see what we are doing is, this is a kind of pre-run for the project, what they are going to do, that every student needs to select one sustainable development goal upon this one. Now you know that SDG tournament has already taken place, the ranking is already taken place. Now they know what SDGs are. Now they'll have to select one SDG from this, that might be repeating SDGs among several students, that doesn't matter. But then they need to collect the data and then write a program for descriptive statistics. and then make problem statements, make suitable hypothesis, build select a suitable methodology, draw statistical inferences, and everything such thing they need to do in Jupyter Notebook. So by this we are integrating the statistics and Python. Therefore, we call it computational statistics. And for this also, the rubric is specifically mentioned that what are the priorities for data collection, descriptive statistics, hypothesis and methodology, and then originality. So this is the thing that we have initiated this particular time, is that we have introduced Turnitin to them. So every student has submitted their project on the Turnitin. We show that what similarity they are getting. If there is a high similarity, we don't check that. They need to ultimately go through, otherwise they lose the marks. So this is the thing that we started as well. Now, once this complete is a pedagogical tool that we have discussed. Now the entire thing is woven in this particular. What is happening? We are basically having one group project. That group project is basically having the integration of all three: linear algebra, statistics, and Python. So we have broken it in such a way so that first of all, students know that what kind of linear algebra concepts they can use in this particular project. Then they know how statistics can be used in sustainable development goals. Now, as you are already aware that we have already formed the groups based on the Know Your Trait activity, which was the kind of 15 days exercise we did in forming the groups itself. Then we announced the groups to them. Now the group project starts. Now, when group project starts, I've already shared that we have already formed the groups based on the traits. Traits are these: need for achievement, need for autonomy, creative tendency, moderate or calculated risk-taking, drive, and determinant. So we try to see that all these 5 characteristic people come in particular team. We try to do it. So far we were successful in doing that. Now the entire project is distributed. It's a 4 weeks project actually. This 4 weeks project is distributed in such a way that week 1 is basically setting up the topic. What is the right title that they need to work upon? So let me show all these 3. First of all, let me describe it. One is identifying potential working areas. So they need to see, suppose they selected one SDG. In that one SDG, they go for potential working areas. Once they go to potential working areas, they need to find out the areas which they need to focus upon, and then they divide those areas among team members. Now there's a condition. Sometimes what happens that particular area may fulfill more than one SDG. They started with one SDG, but that area may cater to 2 or 3 SDGs. So we say that don't bother it. You can in the last say that this particular project not only covered this SDG, rather they covered these many SDGs also. And then they need to define the objectives and milestones in that particular week itself while doing the review of literature, which is a continuous affair. So if I come to this week 1.1, what I told, this is a classroom thing. Complete discussions are going in the classroom. Last 1 month is completely dedicated on the project. A lot of time is going on the table-to-table discussion with the students. Now, suppose these students try to let me see no poverty. So in no poverty, then they went through the areas. These are kind of rough work they have done on the board, and then these are few photographic activities. And then in this week one, the second thing that they do is now, as I said, that once they decide the area, East India, West India, suppose they say that zero hunger mein we need to do on the excess of nutrition in India. So suppose they selected only one area. If they select one area, then they need to divide in the regions. East India, West India, suppose it's a world community. So it's all up to them. Now they divide that area into the people. Sometimes they decide that Indian Ocean or Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean. Sometimes they divide the area, private sector, secondary sector, and so on. They may divide the field also, joint forest management, employment generation, and other areas. So this is the way they divide that into the students. And finally, in that particular week, they come up with the objectives and goals that are being covered. So these are some objectives that they've filled out. Now we help them in shortlisting them and find out. Suppose there are a group of 4 students, we don't expect them to work on 6 objectives. They may work on 4 objectives only, or they may work only 3 objectives. But we say that the quantity doesn't matter. Let it come to a quality part. So we all mentor them in the entire process. And then this becomes a list of project titles. I'll show you in a later stage when the projects will be showcased. So these list of project titles, if we say 4 to 5 students on one project, we can say that about 30, more than 30 projects we have already completed on SDGs. And I'll come to the impact part a bit later.
In a year.
In a year, yes. So then week 2 comes, it becomes a kind of real after deciding the title, they start data collecting, possibility of applying statistical techniques based on types and nature of data, implementation in Python, compilation of tasks, making a draft report. And it is not only one-time approach. They make the, because they are first year students, first semester 12th pass. And then 10 plus 2 pass student doesn't know how to write the report, though they have learned a lot in their school timings, but technical report writing they have never done. So this is a draft, this is what the entire country generation, maybe 1 or 2 schools are doing that. But draft reports as a cycle, when we ask them to submit, that is also evaluation. The evaluation of project, this is the kind of, we call it computational problem solving module. So this computational problem solving module, the cycle 1 is making the draft report, showing it to us, will evaluate it. There is a complete mechanism to evaluate it. And then once we share the observations to them, they submit a final report for final evaluation. And it is not only group की एक ही ग्रुप में एक 3 बच्चे अच्छा काम कर लें, शांत बैठा उसको उसके मार्क्स मिल गए, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है. We have included individual contribution report. It means before final evaluation, the student need to say that in the group what I have done, what his individual contribution is there. So that is the part. I'll show the evaluation rubrics later. So there are few project posters in 2019 that I'd like to show this. Okay. So give me time, please. On posters. Actually, this in my system, every time file is opening and closing immediately. So I need to go there and find out the things. No, just a minute, please. Sorry. Okay, so this is the kind of posters that the students have made. So this is the kind of posters that students have made. So I'm straight away sharing all the posters with all of you. You can see impact of privatization in higher education in India. These are all the groups. This is a summary of the project report, you can say. Review of healthcare sectors in India. Healthcare sector in India. This was before COVID-19 and presented during COVID-19. And then analysis of Indian Railway. These all are the project titles that students have made. This is sample only. Color revolutions in India. Color means green, clean revolution, white revolution. These things were covered by the students in the project. Now, if we see the simple individual contribution report, the individual contribution report looks like this. Where student need to say, so it's a kind of project title, assessment of air quality in different cities. Then he need to say that what objective he has covered and what is the summary of his contribution. And of course, those who signed, scanned, all right, otherwise they signed and submitted to us in hard copy also. Therefore, it is not signed here. So these all the contribution, and based on this, we take the evaluation. So individual contribution category. Now, there are selected projects in 2020 that we have covered. So these are some selected. So it's a kind of 2020 when it was online. It was very challenging as far as 2020 projects are concerned, because earlier we were having tables, we were showing, going to the tables, solving each and every query. Now students were bringing up in the evening, in the night, and then we are solving those problems in the Zoom. So probably ma'am will highlight that how this, before I start the file, ma'am will highlight that how that project discussion was taken place in the classes.
We actually did it using the breakout rooms. Multiple sessions were being held on breakout rooms, and we utilized the Slack, wherein actually students used to post a question on Slack, and then either as peer students would actually answer that question, or beyond certain point of time, if students are not able to answer, that is peer answer is not being received, then one of us would creep in and answer. Sometimes we used to answer in a public, so that actually each student understands that, because certain times, many times questions are common. Otherwise, actually, sometimes we feel that this hint is to be given only to the pertaining student, then actually we used to answer them in a private. But hints were given to the students, and finally they actually have done all these kind of things themselves.
So this computational data analysis, this project, so what we have done is this, that we have asked them to make a poster for this particular presentation, and then I'll showcase that how the report is looking like. So this is what that looks like. If you can see this zero hunger report, it's a completely structured report. There's a format is given. We do a lot of iteration in this, and in the last you can see the entire graphs and the Python implementation. You can see here the whole code. So they need not to only submit in hard copy, they need to submit a soft copy of Jupyter also, so that we can run and see that how these programs are being run. So it's a kind of complete, so they need to incorporate the concepts of linear algebra, the concept of statistics, and Python. Sometimes it is challenging to bring in all the concepts of linear algebra, but we say that you sense where linear algebra can be used. Sometimes directly the linear algebra is used. Sometimes we ask them so that they are basically they can look in depth to how to apply the. So one project that I would like to bring to your kind attention is sanitization. And in this, the sanitary napkin, the students have done an excellent work, and they did intense survey among the ladies because they face a lot of problems as far as sanitization is concerned. And those bold group of girls, they have come up really a very good project. Just a minute in showcasing it to you, so that you will realize that, and they are basically working on startup project as far as this thing is concerned. So still it is in a working phase, but they have done really a good work in this. And this all, so what they have done is they basically analyze the sanitary hygiene and its impact on environmental, social, and personal aspect. So they took a data of urban people, rural people. They wanted to know the awareness about sanitary napkins among the ladies in these areas, and then they did the data analysis on this. So it was a very good project that I wanted to highlight. So this all is basically thread because of strong evaluation cycle. So in week 4, after week 4, when the cycle 1 is completed, we ask them that to submit the draft report. Their 10 marks are assigned out of 30. So 1/3, 30% is given to them. In this, the major part is peer review and evaluation. So I'll request Sonal ma'am to tell something about peer review. Just till I open the peer review report.
Yes. So as Umesh has said, the evaluation project is actually divided into 3 cycles. In a second cycle, second cycle, when they are ready with a draft report, we initiate a peer review, wherein actually we exchange the reports of the students. One group would evaluate the report of other. We have allocated 5 marks for it, and we also give detailed rubrics to each and every group that based on this, this peer review should be done. Once they do this, this is how actually they submit us the review. It is not actually submission to us, basically it is submission to other group. Now it is not that directly that group need to accept that review. They have a chance to defend in the class in front of other group. Okay, this is not what my say perspective of writing down this was, but my perspective was different. Then actually they are actually in front of each other. 2 groups are in front of each other, where one is defending his own group and other is actually defending the review they have cited off. So this way actually their report, in this cycle itself, the report becomes clean and clear. Sometimes actually students also submit erroneous codes, they paste it, they might be overlooked by us, but by doing peer review actually it becomes crystal clear, because each and every group actually looks at other report very cautiously.
Thanks, ma'am. So you can see that it is not only formatting errors. We strictly say that you have to go to conceptual errors also. So they do go to statistical technique errors, coding errors, and man tool, linear algebra, if that is involved or not. And this is how the peer review entire process is taken place. And we ensure that no friendship takes place there. So when they defend it, the cross connection is always there to see that the no basically advantage is taken by the friendships in this particular case. So if we now we'll come to the students first of all. There are
I invite Hardika to share his report. Hardika, you are there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am. Isha, would you please unmute?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. This is Isha Gupta. So this is our poster for the final project of the course Computational and Data Analysis that is based on Sustainable Development Goals. So SDGs consist of 17 interrelated goals which were set by members of United Nations in 2015 and were aimed to be fulfilled by 2030. So out of all the 17 SDGs, we selected SDG 7, that is affordable and clean energy, as our target goal. After selecting the goal, we did some research and collected the data. As our ultimate goal of SDGs was to ensure the sustainable future, so we divided our project into 4 objectives with a motive to check the growth of world by 2030 by comparing the growth rate between current and previous decade. So here, these are our 4 objectives. The first one is to analyze the production of electricity in last 2 decades and evaluate the progress around the world. The second one is to analyze the consumption of electricity in last 2 decades and monitor the growing needs around the world. The third one is to analyze the share of winds and solar in total electricity production in last 2 decades and study the advancement in the new techniques. And the last one is to analyze an average increase in contribution of renewable resources in total electricity production in last 2 decades and examine the awareness among the people. So now I would like Hardika to just carry on further, explain the calculation part.
Yeah, thank you, Isha. So let me quickly take you all through the methodology and the steps of analysis that were followed. So each objective was divided into 3 sub-objectives because each member of the group was working on a single objective majorly. So let me take you to objective 3, which was the objective that I was majorly working on. And so this is objective 3.1, which was that we wanted to know if the rate of increase in this decade, that is from 2011 to 2020, has been greater than or equal to the previous decade. So for that, what we do is we create a hypothesis and then we test it using Z-test. So this is a file for objective 3.1. So we import the data using the pandas library, which is a module in Python. So we import entire data and then we perform all the calculations and operations that are necessary for the test. So we calculate mean, standard deviation, and all other values that are necessary. And with this value, we finally can conclude that for this decade from 2011 to 2020, the rate of increase has been greater than the previous decade. And in fact, for all the 4 objectives, the result was kind of similar, that we have improved in this decade than the previous one. So it was a very positive result. Moving to the second objective, which was to predict the future values. So after knowing the current decade, we wanted to know if we will be able to further increase and will we be able to achieve the goals that we have for SDG by 2030. So for that, what we have done is that we again import entire data in our file, and after that we plot them, the current data that we already have, we plot that on the graph. And now using this data, we can predict the future values. So what we do is that we calculate Pearson coefficient. We have Pearson correlation coefficient. So using that, we can obtain this line, which is kind of a normalization measurement for all the values that were earlier plotted. So now for the year 2020 to 2030, all the values that lie on this line are most probable for us, and that is how the predictions are made. So this is the predictions that we finally arrived at, and this is the share of solar and wind in the coming years in the world. moving to the third objective, which was to calculate rank. So we have these countries in the continent Asia. So we take the data for these countries and we plot a matrix, because we need a matrix for the eigenvalue and eigenvector that we are interested in calculating. So we plot these countries with respect to themselves. So the values are assigned, like for example, if India has a lesser share than China in solar and wind energy, so it will be allotted a 1. And if it is equal, like India is obviously equal to India, so a 2 is allotted. And then India has a greater share of solar and wind than Indonesia, so it will be allotted a 3. So like this, the entire matrix has been created and it was converted into an array in Python using NumPy module. So now all the steps were taken, all the steps were implemented on this array. So this is the code that we combinedly created, and we wanted to calculate eigenvector and eigenvalue for this. So we receive the eigenvector when the two eigenvalues are almost equal. So as you see, these two eigenvalues are equal. So this is the eigenvector that we finally arrive at, and we can evaluate the rank based on this eigenvector. So let me show you that. So this is the eigenvector, and we have these countries. This is in the same order that they were initially in. So higher the eigenvector will be, the value of the eigenvector will be, higher will be the rank. So as you see, China has 1. So this value always lies between 0 to 1. So China stands at first position because it has a value of 1. Then second comes China, third comes India. So likewise, we calculate rank for all the countries in Asia. Now I would like Somprabha to carry forward from here.
Thank you, Hardika. Now I would like to explain how we found out the correlation between our objectives. Since we were finding out the correlation between the two data sets, we used Pearson's correlation coefficient. After applying the formula, we plotted a scatter plot, and according to the plot, we predicted if the two objectives were correlated or not. Usually the values range between -1 and 1. So since we can see in this plot that the scatter plot are mostly near to the normalized measurement, we can say that the objectives 1 and 2, which are production and consumption of electricity, are strongly correlated. Whereas when we see that the objective share of renewables in production and share of solar and wind in production, these are also strongly correlated, since they are near about same as the normalized measurements. While when we see the correlation between the other two objectives with these two, we find that they are not as closely related. And on comparing all the 4 data sets, we found out that the strongest correlation was between objective 1 and 2. So now I would like to show you how we plotted our graphs. We used Matplotlib library of Python to plot our graphs, and to actually plot our graphs, we had to import the data. So we used Pandas library and imported the data in CSV format. Further, we used different attributes of Matplotlib, such as different graphs such as bar graph, pie charts, line plots, and scatter plots to compare the data. And since there was many comparisons we had to draw, we use different colors so that the data can be visualized easily. For example, this is the plot that we created to depict the production of the percentage share of solar and wind in the production of electricity for that first decade, which was 2000 to 2009. And this was the production in second decade, which was 2010 to 2019. Similarly, for another goal, we also created a scatter plot to find the average shares of renewables in different energy production, which was calculated in terawatt hours. Here you can see that the blue line depicts the decade second, whereas the pink line depicts the product shares in decade 1. Thank you. Now I would like to hand over to Isha to conclude.
Somprabha, the poster is not visible.
Yeah.
So this is the final result that we got. That is, the Asia ranked highest in Pacific ranked lowest in the total production and consumption in 2019. China in Asia has maximum contribution in wind and solar in electricity production, whereas India stands in third place after Japan. So the learnings that we got from this project is very interesting as we came to know about the SDG and their motives. We also learned about many new mathematical concepts. So overall, the entire course was very interesting and really useful. All the mathematical and Python concepts were taught to us in a very clear way. So through which we were able to complete this project. So it also helped us in rest of the courses like fundamental of automation course and experimental science, where we used Python concepts to prepare the assignments and projects. So yeah, that's it from our side. Thank you.
Sir, you are not audible.
Yes.
Sorry. So thanks, Hardika and team. So any course is measured by the impact outside. So the course impact of 2019 that we have taken, 2020 impact, then gradually it will come. So if you may have observed in 2019 induction program, when UNICEF delegates came and there was a talk. So that delegation came just because of when we showed this effort into the conference on ICSDG earlier and this particular course files. The Mr. Shardasani from UNICEF WASH program was very impressed and say that I'll have to interact with first year students, and he came in induction 2019. Similarly, the ICSDG 2019 conference, the UNICEF when they came, myself and Professor Naidu visited the UNICEF office and showed 2-3 course files to them. And that was quite impressive then to them. So that was showing that how our university was focused on SDGs. Of course, you may have observed that awareness of SDG is very good among youth community now. And few students presented their papers in ICSDG 2019. These are 3, out of which 2 are communicated for publication now. So these are the small impacts of the course that we wanted to highlight. So that's it from the team side. What to Sonal?
We would like to thank each one of you to hear us patiently. Sorry for the inconvenience which has been caused due to presentation here and there, content here and there, but open to remarks, suggestions.
So maybe I'll start because I need to be in another meeting soon. It's really impressive, and whenever I see this, and these people had given a presentation just a couple of days ago, it's really very, very nice. And there's so many things that we are doing in one course. It's not just about teaching, some bit of maths and some bit of programming. There's, learning SDG, learning peer evaluation. I mean, there's just so many things all put into this one course that is just absolutely amazing that what we are able to achieve. But I have just one simple this thing. See, in the meeting that we had just a couple of days ago, the gentleman had asked a question. What about, do we have some proof that this works? In the sense that, and I think Sanjay gave a wonderful answer saying, at the end of the day, if both students are smiling and the faculty is smiling, then it must have worked. But I think, can we have a bit more of this? So the whole idea of starting PBL was that this leads to better learning and better retention. That was the hypothesis with which we started this. Right? The students enjoy things and therefore they focus more and they learn more and so on. And when they're doing things by hand, it is retained better. Can we, say something? For example, can we say at the end of the course, what kind of question papers we had versus what kind of questions paper we had for a similar course, let's say just one of the courses, let's say maths or programming. Were there similar kind of question papers? If yes, did these students perform better in those question papers? Or the other way to evaluate this would be, well, most students frankly would lose a lot of things within a few days of the semester being over, and that's considered completely all right. I mean, I'm not criticizing that or something. As long as they have the capability of relearning this when they need, it's okay to forget some of the details. But how much details they forget? If we were to just have a small quiz one semester late, do they retain it? And of course, this quiz is not to be evaluated, or is not there on the transcript, so they can be very honest about it. So is there a way to say that this is better, not just in terms of students smiling and the faculty smiling, as Sanjay said, which by the way, I have a really great answer. I mean, I thought that was really the I mean, I would really love to be in a class where at the end of the class all of us smile at each other. But is there a quantitative way to say this is better? Okay.
So as far as question paper designing is concerned about mathematics, the earlier mathematics paper that we set up was more on kind of conventional problem solving. There were applications. I'll not say there were not applications, but when this particular mode started, we know that we also searched through the applications, find out applications, how to implement it. So we faculty member have worked a lot that we did not do earlier. We were more focused on applications, of course, the concept and applications, but not in this way. Therefore, similar was reflected in the question paper also. So we have question papers which shows clear difference between two. But yes, one experiment that you have suggested to assess a month later or say 2 months later the students. I think one experiment we did in one of the courses, but not in CDA. So probably we'll try to do now on this. It's nice suggestion.
Or just like when they come back in the second semester, do they need to be kind of given a refresher on programming, or are they kind of we have some sense of how programming was earlier, right? So do we have a sense of like, are they retaining more, and the next semester we don't have to have a refresher? The first project itself or the first assignment itself is done well, that kind of thing. But I'll leave it here because I have, I have to leave this and join another meeting. So thank you very much. Wonderful talk. Really impressed, and just keep doing the great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sir, so I would like to thank one and all present over here. And as I said, hearing us patiently, there were a lot of hiccups today and presenting, but we'll make sure that next time, in the next iteration, we actually clear all this down. And we are also open to critique. Later on, actually, once this forum or this session is over, you all can actually WhatsApp us or send us an email wherein actually, which would help us in improving in next iteration. Thank you, sir. Sanjay, sir, shall I close?
Please bring that pie chart slide once.
One which was presented by a student, Isha?
No. By you.
Okay. Okay.
Right in the beginning, right in the very beginning.
Sure. All right.
150 hours in class to 300 hours out class. That. And then you had this. No. Okay, keep this one. No, this keep the earlier one. This activity, this conceptualization, etc. Yes. So since I also have to join the same meeting that Professor Sanghi has just left for, I'll spend a minute or so. See, this is the crux of the whole experience, which can be flexibly transferred to any course in any school. Okay. So a course involves, and we are not saying that we are doing things in a particular order, that we will do activity first and then ask them to get engaged in reflection, and then they will on their own learn the concepts. We are not at all saying that, because the experience has been that for able to do that, you require a different kind of ecosystem. Okay, but what we are saying is every course can have concepts. It should have concepts. It should have exercises and applications, and it should have activities, and it should have some kind of reflection, as was the case in this also, in the sense that students did peer review, and then students did peer review of the peer review also. So order is not so important as the presence of these 4 elements is. Okay. Now, certain schools of thought like PBL insist that it has to be activity followed by reflection, followed by conceptualization, and then the application. In our delivery, we are saying that we are being more flexible given our circumstances and situation. We are saying wherever we feel flexible, feel confident to start with activity, we start with activity. Wherever we feel confident to start with concepts and then move on to activity, we take that route. So there is no kind of binding. We are not getting bound by a particular scheme of things. We are saying that we will do all this and in a very flexible manner, so that students get a wholesome experience for a joyful and deeper learning. With this, I will close, and we will meet again next week for a different course, now led by Jaya Gupta. And that's again a mathematics applied to engineering using computing techniques, and another fantastic course. And it's a series of 3 courses that team would be talking next week. With this, I thank everybody and the team for taking this. Yeah, so I think we can just close here. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Hello. Hmm.